Today we're going to be attempting the largest stack in the history of Magic the Gathering. And the way we're going to do this is there's some rules. There's going to be a thread on the battlefield that I'm going to start, but everybody has a ley line of anticipation, all right? That's our rule 0 here. So everyone has ley line of anticipation, which says if it's on the battlefield, you may cast spells as though they had flash. That means enchantments can be played at flash speed. Creatures can be played at flash speed. Anything can be played at flash speed to make this thing more interesting. Two other rules. Counterspells. If it says counterspell, it's banned. And also, split second is also banned. So we don't want to ruin the stack here. If whoever gets stuck, some stuff will resolve and we will resume. I'm going to start off with Primeval Titan, one of the more evil cards out there. 6 mana, 6/6 Trampler, enters the battlefield or attacks. You may search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. If you want to interact with the card that we see, you have to name the card that you already see and your response. Can be a response when it enters the battlefield, could be a response while it is on the stack, and also you can also use cards as if they were already in play to answer the card in the first place. So, and I will prioritize. So a lot of people are giving me just random cards. I will prioritize the person who names the card and then their follow-up, because as we do the show and as people are lagging, make sure you refresh your browsers. Okay, so we have Islarf with the Ankh of Mishra. Is that really a good response? This seems like one of the worst responses. Ankh of Mishra is a 2-mana artifact with a land entering the battle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, Ankh of Mishra deals 2 damage to that land's controller. But who knows? Maybe the Primeval Titan player is at like 1 life, and now they need to save their butt against the Ankh of Mishra. All right, so we need an answer to Ankh of Mishra that has it's either on the stack or it's in play. And it's perfectly fine to respond to it in any way possible. Oh, but you're late? No, I'm late. Thankfully, YouTube recommended only took 15 minutes to arrive this time. No. That's my fault. As you see, like, I got the anime hair right now because I completely forgot that I was supposed to do a show this morning. I gave the schedule. My wife is like, aren't you supposed to be streaming right now? It's like 9:01. Oh my God! I gotta turn everything on over here. Okay, we got Corbinek has Haywire Might versus the Ankh of Mishra. Haywire Might. All right, so we're going to be playing Haywire Might in response with the purpose of when it dies, you gain 2 life, but you can pay a green, sack the Haywire Might to exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. So apparently we're going to sacrifice it to deal with the Ankh of Mishra so that our Primeval Titan triggers are going to resolve. And now I want to remind everyone that every future card needs to be considered of all other cards that are on the stack. So if there is a humility in play, that is going to affect future cards in the future. Just to let everybody know. Can you Deflecting Swat the effect? I thought you can only Deflecting Swat a spell. And remember, I'm going to prioritize anyone who says, okay, so Indiana Jones goes Might into Pestilence. Does that work? I don't think that works. I mean, because it's a sacrifice effect, right? So this actually doesn't work. Pestilence deals 1 damage to each creature and each player, but they can just sacrifice in response and it doesn't change anything. I don't think that's actual work. I don't think that's an actual way to beat it. Elgot with Witness Protection. Still, they can sacrifice in response. These are not answers to the Haywire Might. You can play your Witness Protection. Like, you know, where do you play the Witness Protection? While the Haywire Might's on the stack, or while it's being sacrificed versus the Ankh of Mishra? So we need none of these are legitimate ways of actually dealing with the Haywire Might. Okay, so you can swat the ability. Okay, let's look at the Deflecting Swat. Apparently, where are we gonna throw it on? Deflecting Swat. If you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for targeted spell or ability. There is one problem at the moment. There is no other target on the battlefield, so this also doesn't work. Can you target the Might? The Might is dead. Because I guess so. You may choose new targets. No, but they paid the cost, right? So once the spell is on the stack, the Might is gone. It doesn't exist. You can choose targets that will be illegal afterwards, but right now the Haywire Might is not on the stack anymore because it had to be sacrificed for its ability to be on the stack. All right, we're at Haywire Might still. Haywire Might, Bolt targeting face. Interesting. Okay, so if the Primeval Titan player is in theory in danger of dying, that is an answer. This is a very cheatsy answer, but okay, we'll go with, because every single time we'll just keep going back and forth with Lightning Bolt. Let's stick with answering the Haywire Might. There's got to be an actual way of doing this. I think I just came up with an idea. A few ideas, actually. Haywire Might into Plague Drone. Let's take a look at this one. Plague Drone. We could also assume that the Primeval Titan player is actually at 4 life, not 3. Plague Drone is a 4-mana 3/3 flying rot fly. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. But it doesn't change the fact that Haywire Might is targeting an Ankh of Mishra. Well, we need a solid answer here. I've got one answer in my mind. Haywire Might already control a except remember there. Okay, refresher of the rules. Leyline, we all have a Leyline of Anticipation in play, so Spellskite is going to work. Yeah, so this actually is going to work. Here, is there a way I can how do I get text up? Everybody has a Leyline of Anticipation in play. I want to add some text. No, I'm just gonna have to remind everyone. Remember, everyone has a Leyline. So everyone has Leyline of Anticipation, which says you can play all your spells at instant speed. So just a reminder. So you can play the Spellskite in response, and then when Haywire Might ends up sacrificing, you can change the target of target spell or ability to the Spellskite, and that actually will be legal. I like that. Okay, oh boy, with the Might into Null Rod. Very interesting. Or do you want an answer that word? No, this works perfectly. So in response to the, okay, this is interesting because we're going to lock up, if we play this in response, okay, no, we definitely played Haywire, we played Spellskite in response to sacrificing the Haywire Might ability. Now, in response to Spellskite being played, we have played Null Rod. All right, now we have Null Rod on the stack. This works perfectly well. Okay, so now we're on Null Rod. Spellskite doesn't work since Haywire can only target non-creature artifacts. Oh, exile target non-creature artifact. So we can still play Spellskite, but it doesn't work. Okay, how about this? We can play Null Rod at the very least in response to the Haywire Might on the stack. Okay, so that Null Rod is still on the stack in response, at least, to the Haywire Might. It's absolute chaos here. It's absolute chaos on this stack so far. Null Rod into Time Stop. That's very funny, because the Primeval Titan player will still not get their lands. So for 6 mana instant, end the turn. All right, so we've got Time Stop on the stack now. As weird as that sounds. And I will try. Also, you can also remind me that you have no card yet, and I can prioritize you over someone who has gotten a card. Knight of Soul, Knight of Soul's Betrayal is a good answer to the Haywire Might as well, to be honest. We've got there's so many answers to Null Rod. Time Stop is a very simple card. End the turn. And we also have we have basically infinite mana. There's no lack of mana around here. We have 100 bazillion points of mana. How do we end the time? If we can't end the Time Stop, then the Time Stop has to resolve. And then what? We go to... Actually, if Time Stop resolves... Remember, we can't use the word Counterspell, but we can use other things that might take place of Counterspell. Time Stop versus World Fire? What would this do? That's not an answer to Time Stop, if I understand. What if I had a card disqualified? You are absolutely allowed to try again. Yes, you have no card yet. The rule of the show is you're always allowed to jam cards until you get it right. Yeah, Time Stop will end the stack and the turn. There are answers to Time Stop, though. There are multitudes of answers to Time Stop. If I have to, I will intervene and put something. Fireball, the player who casts Time Stop. I should say we have infinite mana to play spells, but I guess we don't have infinite. I guess we all have Omniscience as well. We have Omniscience in play that helps us cast our cards. Time Stop into Mind Break Trap. Okay, let's go to... Okay, Mind Break Trap. Technically not Counterspell. Mind Break Trap. Oh, holy crap, this is definitely free. This would actually exile everything on the stack. We'll assume it just exiles the one thing, though. If an opponent casts 3 or more spells this turn, you can pay 0, and then rather than pay Mind Break Trap's mana cost, exile any number of target spells. All right, so Mind Break Trap targeting our Time Stop, which is trying to stop the game before Null Rod enters the battlefield. We need an exile spell on the stack. There is like bounce target spell, target cards that exist. Meddling Mage naming Time Stop. Well, you have to have the Meddling Mage. I guess Meddling Mage would never work on the show because Meddling Mage is like a card that you play before somebody has actually played anything. Okay, so now we've got... I can tell everybody is like a full 1.5 minutes behind the show. You can always refresh or also hit the live button. I think at the bottom left, you can turn it from from gray to red, so you can be up to date with the rest of the show. Can we let Mind Break Trap resolve? No, we're not allowed to do that. We're supposed to beat the Mind Break Trap with something, and apparently Banana has the idea of Aang Swift Savior. Aang Swift Savior. How are we defining answers? Anything that can answer, like at least temporarily answer the card. Aang Swift Savior is a 3-mana 2/3. We're looking at any way that can meaningfully interact with the card on the stack. Aang Swift Savior is a 3-mana 2/3 flash flying creature. When it enters, airbend up to one other target creature or spell. Exile it. While it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 rather than pay its mana cost. Oh wait, we have Aang apparently. Aang is targeting our Mind Break Trap. As silly as that is. Okay, it's like temporarily has been answered. Now we need to answer the Aang. So no killing the player that casts the spell before it resolves. You know, in theory, if we get really stuck, sure, let's play our, the Door to Nothingness. At some point, we're going to like, at some point we're going to ban some cards that constantly get mentioned that try to kill the player outright. I don't think Misdirection works with Aang, because this is an ETB. Marcio says, we already are at 10 spells on the stack. Let's go to the jugular with Tendrils of Agony. Okay, do you know what? I'll accept that. Tendrils of Agony, 10 spells on the stack. We're also assuming the opponent, I guess, is at 20 life. Tendrils of Agony, and also thank you very much for your super chat. Maybe this can be a new rule. You can hijack the stack by donating. You and I like that, actually. Spells will resolve if you I don't know what's going to happen if there's multiple super chats on the stack, though. Okay, Tendrils of Agony. We are inflicting... There are 10 spells. We're inflicting 20 damage in life, and our opponent will gain 2 life. Your hair looks wet. Well, I exercised this morning. Usually I wash my hair before a stream. I was a little bit late to this stream. Flusterstorm, counterspells are banned. And Flusterstorm counters instant and sorcery spells. Tendrils versus Rain of Gore. What is Rain of Gore? If a spell or ability would cause its controller to gain life, that player loses that much life instead. But we gonna be dead too. I don't know if this is a good answer. I think we're also gonna be dead. Like we're gonna die together. I don't think that's a good answer, to be honest. I think there's a clean answer. There's a lot of clean answers to Tendrils of Agony. Argentina with Tendrils into Gilded Light. Remember, okay, Gilded Light. Reminder to anyone who's just showing up to the show, you have Leyline of Anticipation in play. You can cast any spell at instant speed. Don't worry about the mana, and just let me know the card that you want to respond to in your comment, and I'll prioritize it. Gilded Light is a 2-mana instant. You gain Shroud until end of turn. All right, that actually works. I thought someone was going to go down a life gain patch. Okay, so Gilded Light is on the stack, and it's an instant, strangely enough. Yeah, well, yeah, Weather of the Storm would have been an excellent answer. Okay, we're going to look at more of the cards that are going to be on this massive stack, but we got to thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite place to get my Magic the Gathering cards. You might have got your Spider-Man cards avatar. Oh, man, just looking at this, it's like, where's the magic? Here's the magic. Lorwyn Eclipsed. We're going to get my Merfolk, Goblin, Kitkin cards, and more. And if you want to pre-order your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's a lot of combo cards out there. Get them at no place else than FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get 5% off all your purchases. And, of course, it supports the channel, which I like the most. I like it when you support the channel, because it helps us make more fun stuff like this. Okay, Gilded Light. We need a... Yeah, I got it out of 10. I got you, Argentina. Tendrils of Agony versus Tainted Remedy. We still die, but they die faster. Well, that's not good. We don't... I mean, it would be fine if it's one-on-one, I guess. If it's simultaneous, it's not good, though. Tendrils gets blocked by Stifle. Stifle actually is going to work. I'm going to say you cannot counter a spell, but you can counter abilities. But unfortunately, we're at Gilded Light right now. Okay, Mapius. With Gilded Light to activate Arcane Lighthouse. Arcane Lighthouse. Now, Christopher B. asked a little bit earlier, can we have lands in play that can interact with the board? And the answer is yes. We can assume some lands are already in play to be activated. So Arcane Lighthouse is a land, and for 1 mana, tap until end of turn, creatures your opponents control lose Hexproof and Shroud, and can't have Hexproof or Shroud. Oh, this doesn't work, actually. It doesn't work. Because we are the person that wants the Hexproof and Shroud. You gain Shroud until end of turn. This only affects the creatures, right? Creatures your opponents control lose Hexproof and Shroud, and they can't gain it. Okay, so we still are in danger of dying here. Perplexing Chimera. Perplexing Chimera in play versus Gilded Light. Okay, the Perplexing Chimera, a 5-mana 3/3. No, you can actually play it in response, right? Oh, no, you can't. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the copy. All right, this sounds like a great idea. So we are threatening to steal our opponent's Gilded Light. Yeah, we're going to yoink it. It's been yoinked. Funny, Lighthouse and Chimera were my first thoughts, but they don't work. No, why doesn't the... if an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, choose new targets for the copy. So basically, we're going to swipe the Gilded Light here. We can assume some cards already in play, assuming it's not like Meddling Mage. Chimera doesn't work. No, we're going to assume this thing is on this in play, and we're activated. We can assume some cards are in play, and the opponent is blindly playing into them, maybe to draw out their Perplexing Chimera so that they can do something else. Although this is a weird card, because now if the opponent has it, if it resolves, then they can use it later. You know what? Platinum Empyrean, life total can't change. Ignore Shroud since Tendrils won't do anything. Well, we have a Perplexing Chimera we have the Perplexing Chimera ability on the stack. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange. And then... Okay, so I guess what ends up happening is it's already happened. If you do, you may choose new targets for the copy. So now now the player who is getting smacked by a Tendrils of Agony, they don't have a Gilded Light anymore, but they have a Perplexing Chimera instead. Hexenort, Mindslave... Well, it's too late, though. Mindslaver Chimeras may control opponent and refuse to change control. No, but that's going back too far. If you activate Mindslaver right now, so if you go to Mindslaver, for example, Mindslaver. So if we activate the Mindslaver, you control that player's next turn, but you're not controlling the current turn. Funny enough. Okay, Chimera versus Sudden Substitution. What is Sudden Substitution? I don't know if you can interact with the Chimera. So it's a 4-mana instant. Split seconds are banned. Sorry. Yeah, we no counterspells or split seconds. Because split second always kills the stack, which is no fun. We're learning a lot about the rules actually in this show because we keep going back and forth. It's like, oh, that card works. No, actually that card doesn't work. Unfortunately. What's it called? The Haywire Might cannot target the spell skite. That's okay. Okay, so do we have any answer to the perplexing Chimera? Veil of Summer in advance before perplexing Chimera. Okay, hold on. I have no idea how we so I think what ends up happening is we've exchanged control. I think what ends up happening is we have to go back to the guild. This is a weird spot. I think we go back to Tendrils of Agony. But our opponent has the one player has a perplexing Chimera in play, which is just very strange. Because right now, if this thing resolved, then it's done. Like it's just done if that thing's already in play. Or how does it work? Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control and that spell. Okay, so that the opponent has a. The stack is at Gilded Light, and the opponent has a perplexing Chimera in play, but they still need to protect themselves from Tendrils of Agony. This is a very strange stack. Stifle. I don't know if that's something you can actually stifle. Whenever you cast a spell, you may exchange control. How does this work? Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of this creature and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the oh yeah, I guess that works. I guess that works actually. Yeah, you can stifle this. So stifling abilities are fair game. Countering activated ability or triggered abilities are fair game. Countering spells not fair game. It's a triggered ability. Okay, if it's triggered, then we can stifle it. All right, so we have stifled the perplexing Chimera trigger and the gilded light. Okay, so we're at stifle now. If I flicker, no, does it reset? Because now the spell is not there anymore. I don't think it works because it says whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of perplexing Chimera, but the spell is already on the stack. So actually, it is not going to work. Okay, do we have... Reminder, rules for the show. If you want to interact with a card, please say the card you want to interact with, and then the answer to the card that you have. Like Marcio is doing here with Sink into Stupor. It's a pretty awkward answer. Sink into Stupor. The Stifle. Because it's only 1 mana, they could replay it. Return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. All right, Stifle being threatened to be put back in hand. You can stifle. Yeah, we can stifle the Chimera Steel. So we're at that point. El Winter is like, this feels like a judge exam. Well, it's good. It's good for your brain. Yeah, so we are target the perplexing Chimera with True Polymorph. We're a little bit far from that. That sounds like a good idea. Try to play True Polymorph in another spot. Chimera would just steal the Stifle. Oh! But then what would it do with it? Hold on. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange. Oh, that is a good point. Okay, we can't go too far. So now now Stifle gets targeted. What the hell is going on with this Chimera? This Chimera has screwed everything up. Can someone just kill this damn thing? Or like, I don't know, play a Dress Down or something? Okay, so we've played Stifle, but it triggers the Chimera again. So we are playing in such a way that we have to remember all the cards in the past, and Chimera does trigger. So if Chimera triggers, then they'll just gain control of the Stifle. In fact, they'll gain control of the Sink into Stupor. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea, chat. Okay, at Stifle, let's play Dress Down. Because Dress Down is not going to care if the Chimera gets stolen. So Dress Down gets played. I'm just trying to move things forward here. Dress Down gets played. Or actually, hold on. You have an idea, Marcio. You want to play Slag Storm instead. That's fine. Okay. Slag Storm. Slag Storm gets played. Deals 3... No, but then if they choose, they can deal 3 damage to a player. It doesn't work. Okay, Dress Down. If they control it... Or actually, hold on. If you choose when you cast it, do you choose how it resolves or when upon cast? Can still Dress Down though with the Chimera. Yeah, that's fine. They can steal it all they want. When it enters the battlefield, it shuts down the Chimera. No, it does. It does. Let me tell you. So Dress Down is played. Chimera says, "Oh, okay, I'll take the Dress Down." Okay, fine, take the Dress Down. Then the Dress Down resolves. And then the Chimera is shut down, and no one can use the Chimera anymore in the future. The Chimera is offline, which is what we want. And then that means the Gilded Light is back on the stack. Oh, sorry. Then this thing triggered. You stole... Okay, hold on. What is going on here? Okay, so then that means... Okay. I'm trying to get back here. Dress Down resolves. Perplexing Chimera. Does it get to steal several things? The Dress Down. Technically, yeah, technically the Dress Down. Well, the Dress Down need to resolve because the stupid Chimera keeps stealing everything. And I think it's still stealing the Gilded Light. But finally, the Dress Down, after it resolves, there's no more Perplexing Chimera trigger. So, sorry, there's one more Perplexing Chimera trigger, thanks to this stupid Dress Down. Okay, that's it. We're at a Perplexing Chimera trigger, trying to exchange itself for a Gilded Light, right? No, but it can't swap anymore. It swaps control over and basically then shuts it off because of Dress Down. Can you swap? This has gotten very complicated for no reason. If an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the copy. Okay, excellent. You have to exchange. This is where we're at, people. Dress Down has been played. It has been swapped with a Perplexing Chimera. Dress Down has resolved. A Gilded Light is back on the stack. All right. Respond to the Gilded Light. We have... so we are responding to a Gilded Light again. Leave it to blue to overcomplicate the stack. I know. It's on cast, so Dress Down is the last card. I'm forcing Dress Down to resolve because otherwise the Perplexing Chimera can keep stealing things. At some point we're gonna have a ban list of cards that can't be allowed to use. We're gonna have a ban list of cards that can't be used because they gum the stack up too much. Control is layer 1, abilities layer 6. The Chimera trigger stays on the stack. The trigger is still on the stack, but how can you exchange when you don't have it anymore? That's what I'm saying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. But we've already donated our Chimera for a Dress Down. Is what I'm saying. Because otherwise they let the Dress Down resolve or they didn't. Or they let it resolve. Or they let the Dress Down resolve, but the Chimera was still in play and the thing was still on the stack. Stifle will take care of the triggered ability on the stack. That's true, actually. Okay, we need an answer to Gilded Light. Okay, Teutonic Nightmare. Back on... Okay, so I'm going to move further down here, because this is technically still in the game. Gilded Light versus Return the Favor. Return the Favor is a double red instant. Copy target instant, spell, or sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. Okay, so we are trying to redirect the Gilded Light that's trying to protect the play. No, it says you gain Shroud. It actually doesn't target anything. Okay, so that one actually doesn't work. You need to stifle after the Chimera loses its ability from Dress Down. It's okay. It's okay. We're still there's a Chimera in play on the opponent's side. I have forced the issue. Okay, we're still at dress. We're not at dress down. We're at I'm just gonna continue it from here. But then remember, there is a dress down in play now, so all creatures that enter the battlefield, they don't work. The stack is the type of thing that keeps judges up at night. Wait, so that counters the tendrils of agony if you copy it. Well, we're not there yet. Sorry, I think I made it a meme with the Chimera. A bit. Just a little bit. It was on the show last time, too. Okay, we're going to get back to our stack. Remember, find an answer to Gilded Light that's protecting somebody from the tendrils of agony. But while you figure that out, we're going to thank our sponsor today, Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards on Magic Online, the digital platform for playing all your favorite paper formats. It's cheaper because you get to play a lot of decks in all formats for one monthly subscription price instead of dedicating yourself to like a deck that could end up getting banned. That's why it's a ban list saver. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders coupon code Nikachu_649 for 40% cash back on your third month subscription. Okay, back to Gilded Lights. I have no idea what this is like for someone on the replay. This whole show is probably chaos. So we can't have ETBs anymore for the rest of the show. That is correct, unless you answer the dress down. In fact, I will allow you guys to like perhaps bounce the dress down. But the problem is if you bounce the dress down, you have to deal with the Chimera. Funny how this could have been prevented if Nikachu didn't make an extra rule to not disqualify Chimera. Well, I don't have a ban list for this thing yet. Okay, El Winter. Ether Snatch, like another person said. Well, there's Ether Snatch. Okay, well, hopefully they get some credit. Ether Snatch. Gain control of target spell. You may choose new targets for it. Okay, so we do gain control. Okay, how does the opponent now respond to the Ether Snatch? Gilded Light versus Commandeer. This is basically the same thing. We're basically stealing somebody's spell. There's going to be a point in the stack where we're probably going to have to kill the Chimera and then bounce the dress down in order to keep this going. Okay, Ether Snatch into unsubstantiate. 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 Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. The Ether Snatch is potentially bounced so that we can get that, so that we can keep our Gilded Light. Remember, this all started with a Primeval Titan that just wanted to get some lands, but then the Ankh of Mishra decided that it was going to threaten to kill them. So that's why we had to play a Haywire Might and try to kill it in response. And I don't remember what happened from there. Krokor Game's like, you know what, just to simplify it, let's just say Dark Steel Mutation is on Chimera. That way it won't cause us issues. You can just be dead. Opponent can also respond to the card that deals damage. Absolutely. Remember, you can't give me like random cards in chat. You have to tell me the card and how you're going to respond to it. That way I know what you're responding to, because I can't tell if you're responding to a card like 3, 4, or 5 minutes in the past. Wait, if bounced, you can just let it resolve and cast it again. You know what? We're going to assume this actually meaningfully interacts, even though it technically shouldn't. Yeah, because technically, yeah, you return back the hand, you just replay the damn thing. Okay, with Unsubstantiate on the stack, Beefy Taco wants to play the Kervek Torch on the Chimera, when there's a dress down in play. What is Kervek? Okay, Kervek Torch? What is this? Okay, Kervek's Torch, red X. As long as Kervek's Torch is on the stack, spells that target it cost 2 more to cast. Kervek's Torch deals X damage to a creature or player. All right. So this is... Okay, this is still not actually... me. Okay, let's assume... I don't really want to assume anything here. Okay, Kervek's Torch is now targeting the Chimera, which, by the way, has no abilities at the moment because there's a dress down in play. Oh boy, Torch... Hercule's Final Meditation just to reset the Chimera and dress down. What are you, insane? Hercule's Final Meditation? Urkel's Final Meditation is a 8 mana instant. As long as it's not your turn, the spell costs 3 more to cast. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand, and then end the turn. Oh my god, it's another end the turn card. Oh, remember, everyone has Leyline of Anticipation. Leyline of Anticipation. This is getting too complicated. This is confusing me. Okay, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back. I want to go back to I sort of want to go. I sort of want to go back to unsubstantiate. Okay, did we resolve this stuff then? How much stuff resolved? No, nothing was resolved. Okay, we have a Caravex. What have I done? What have I done? This whole show is a meme. These are some of the weirdest cards I have ever seen, and you're learning how they interact. Okay, so there is technically a Chimera in play. Okay, the perplexing Chimera perplexed the stack too hard. It did, actually. End the turn equals erase stack. How do we get past that? Well, you have to deal with this thing. Okay, we are not playing Shahrazad. That is not happening today. Okay, in response to Hercule's Final Meditation, Reprieve. Oh yeah, return a spell to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Am I missing anybody? By the way, if you haven't got a card, you can always say no card yet. Okay, Teutonic. What was Teutonic all about? You know what? How about we try Return the Favor again, copy the Tendrils of Agony on the stack, and having it resolved before all this Shroud, Bounce Spell, counter nonsense happens. No, right now we're at Reprieve. Does the turn not end here? It does not. It doesn't have split second, right? As long as it's not your turn, the spell costs 3 more to cast. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. End the turn. We're going to Reprieve the Hercule's Final Meditation. Whose turn? Whose Reprieve is this, by the way? Okay, Caravex Torch. Okay, this was. I'm just trying to figure out who has priority. So Gilded Light. We own the Gilded Light now because thanks to the Chimera. So the opponent who's getting Tendrils, Ether Snatched. And then we unsubstantiated the Ether Snatch. So now the opponent is using Caravex Torch. We, has the Tendrils, are playing Hercule's Final Meditation. And then they're playing Reprieve on our Meditation. And then now, now we're gonna play Brain Freeze. Can we just cast Worldfire for no reason? No, there's gotta be a reason. Brain Freeze. No card yet. In response to Reprieve, cast Pongify. Well, we could do that in response. The stupid Chimera. The Chimera screwed everything up. We have to ban the Chimera in the future. There's this stupid Chimera on the board for no damn reason. They draw from Reprieve? No, they haven't. It's on the stack. It hasn't resolved. Some cards. You want them to draw a card? Okay, now we have Brain Freeze with a Storm Trigger on the stack. I'm not even sure who controls the Brain Freeze at the moment. Brain Freeze versus Blue Sun Zenith. Okay, hold on. Hexenort has Brain Freeze into Grip of Chaos. Grip of Chaos. Alright, Grip of Chaos is a 6-mana enchantment. Whenever a spell or ability is put on the stack, reselect its targets at random if it has a single target. Okay, so assuming this thing was already in play. But that is so weird. This sort of, I don't think we can have this card this particular card in play because it would assume that it could interact with every other card that we've played so far. Would Emrakul the... Oh! Would Emrakul the Promised End in deck count? I would count that. All right, I like that. Okay, so we let the Brain Freeze resolve. Emrakul the Promised End is in the deck. Okay, so we let the Brain Freeze resolve. No, it's not Promised End. It's Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. I think you want that. Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. There's other cards. Yeah, Aeon's Torn, not Promised End. Okay, so Emrakul says, when you cast the spell, take an extra turn after this one, whatever. If it's put into the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. All right, so Brain Freeze resolved, it failed, and now we're back to Reprieve again. We're back to Reprieve. Okay, Sanzi says, weather the storm to gain 3 life on the stack. Okay, so what we're gonna do, Sanzi, I like that idea. We're going to resolve. Then we're back to Gilded Light. So the Tendrils and Gilded Light are on the stack, and now we go weather the storm. Okay, so we've resolved some of the stack because it's just a big pile of nonsense. And apparently everything got bounced. So weather the storm is a 2-mana instant. You gain 3 life, and it has storm, which will protect us from the Tendrils of Agony that is only trying to target us for 20 life. And at this point, we're going to gain like 80 life off of this card. Corbinic wanted to play Rest in Peace versus Emrakul. Oh yeah, in response to the trigger, that would actually work, because Rest in Peace has an ETB. No, we're at Weather the Storm right now. Did we do Tainted Remedy already, Zillis? Okay, hold on. Tainted Remedy. No, we did not. All right, Tainted Remedy in response. 3-mana enchantment. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. For anyone that's just joining the show, I'll just remind everybody that everybody has a Ley Line of Anticipation in play. For the most chaotic nonsense stack possible. I tried Tainted Remedy, but it failed. Now it works. Now it works perfectly. Or I don't know, maybe I just didn't notice your comment earlier. Okay, so we have Tainted Remedy, which there are millions of answers to. MV Argus Moron. Sorry, Argus Moran. Sorry, that came out wrong. This sounds like total nonsense. It is. You know what? It sort of feels like a Commander game. That's all. You would have to build around Tainted Remedy. You never know when a random Tainted Remedy would actually work. Does anyone that doesn't have a card yet? I think... I don't know if Marcio has a card. Platinum Empyrean. Platinum Empyrean. Which is interesting, because Platinum Empyrean would actually also... Well, this is not a good answer to Weather the Storm, because you're the Tendrils of Agony player. Oh, no, your life total can't... No, this doesn't change anything. Tainted Remedy says if an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Oh, I see. No, Platinum Empyrean. Okay, that does work, actually. This is because the Platinum Empyrean person is the person defending from the Tendrils of Agony. All right, Platinum Empyrean is on the stack. 8-player Commander game. Maybe 16. Maybe 32-player Commander game. Everyone's trying to save this one person at the table. Come on, don't gang up on them. What are you doing that for? Yeah, Tendrils will resolve killing that one particular player. No, it won't. Your life total can't change. Because remember, this is Weather the Storm is trying to protect, and then Platinum Empyrean will say their life total can't change. Okay, so now... okay, Tanya with Platinum Empyrean into True Polymorph. What does True Polymorph do? This is an instant for 6 mana. Target artifact or creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. Oh! And we can turn... So what are we turning it into, though, Tanya? What are we turning it into? We have... Into True... Platinum Empyrean to True... So what do you want to copy? We have target artifact or creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. Creatures we have on this in play. We have Aang. We have Spellskite. No, Spellskite is on the stack. It's not in play. We have a Haywire might died. We have Primeval Titan. I think that's what matters. Oh no, but it doesn't matter yet because it's on the stack. It hasn't resolved. Wait, platinum won't work because we have dress down. Oh no! Sorry, well, that's the wrong. We have a dress down in play. Platinum Empyrean does nothing. There is a dress down somewhere further in this game. So all creatures that go in play, they're dead. I'll tell you what, if you want to respond to 2, you could be like, okay, how about this? Tainted Remedy. In response to Tainted Remedy, we're gonna. How do we kill the Chimera? Just disenchant the Tainted Remedy. Okay, we're gonna go back. Okay, we have to go back. The polymorph. Oh, this technically does work, but it doesn't do anything. So they say the true polymorph ended up turning the Platinum Empyrean into a Primeval Titan, even though it's not relevant, and the Primeval Titan does nothing at the moment. Then Tainted Remedy is going to be interacted with Fios wants Lich's Tome. Or Tomb. Lich's Tomb. Is a 4-mana artifact. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Whenever you lose life, sacrifice a permanent for each 1 life you lost. You don't. This sounds chaotic. You don't lose the game. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Whenever you lose life, sacrifice a permanent. This sounds bad. This sounds like a pretty miserable way to interact. Yeah, everyone lives versus Oh, wait a minute. Does platinum work because of this, the layers? Yeah, I hope you have enough things to sacrifice. Yeah, we got negative life. I don't think this is going to be an answer. You won't have enough permits to keep the tomb in play. I don't think so either. Okay, so we're going to have to say this is not actually an answer. We're going to go back to Tainted Remedy. Someone had a very clean answer. Like, they're just going to blow it up. Wait, did a spell resolve and bounced all the non-land perms to hand? Yes, Ninja, you're actually right. There was something that bounced everything back to hand. And we're going to assume that they're not allowed to play them. Because of the rules of the show, you can't replay the same card twice. So hold on. Tainted Remedy got responded to with Platinum Empyrean. That works. No, but... Yes. Yes, that does work. A Platinum Empyrean. Okay, Platinum Empyrean. Now let's go back to True Polymorph. Okay, let's get back here. True Polymorph targeted the Platinum. It's targeting the Platinum Empyrean right now. Potentially turning into a Primeval Titan. Yeah, I thought Hercule's meditation got reprieved. No, the reprieve. I think the reprieve was on something else. I could be completely wrong. We could be cheating like in a regular Commander game. We need the MS Paint with the stack, Mr. Nikachu. Oh my god. You know, maybe in the future, maybe that's how we're going to do it. I'll just keep copying the pictures and pasting them somewhere. Little Dead Fly. Man, I can't catch these lately. You got to wake up earlier? But it sounds of it, Little Dead Fly, your schedule is like way later. Or like you wake up at like 3 a.m. This in theory should be easier to get to unless you're sort of a night shift person. Use Moto Deck Builder for the stack. True Polymorph. Machine God's Effigy. Machine God's Effigy. Use the Moto Deck Builder for the stack. I think I'll just use MS Paint. I'll just be copying these pictures and then pasting them there. I can see a world where we do that. MTG, but chat makes chaos should have been the name of this show. Machine God's Effigy is a 4-mana artifact. You may have Machine God's Effigy enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact and has tap out of blue. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to we're threatening to copy our Platinum Empyrean again. Oh my god, this is so rude. Okay, who controls this? Okay, the person who is casting the Tendrils of Agony, I believe, is casting Cyclonic Rift with Overload. Okay, so we're going to threaten Cyclonic Rift Overload. This is ridiculous. I like that answer, actually. Machine's got effigy with Curse of the Swine. Now everything is a pig. You're welcome. Everything's a piggy. We could get back to that. Okay, so with Machine God Effigy on, I guess, in play, we're gonna play Cyclonic Rift. Isn't it gas in Gentleman, or isn't it G in Gentleman? I'm not a native speaker. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. So this is the morning show. This is today's morning show. It's incredibly chaotic. You know, this is not working the way I thought it was going to work. We need a... I'm willing to try this one more time, and we'll have, like, even more strict rules. I'll even have the rules on the bottom. Okay. Fios, Cyclonic Rift into Teferi's Protection. Now we're just pulling out, like, the biggest ways of, like, just trying to protect ourselves completely. Oh, effigy. Oh, yeah, I don't know how to pronounce effigy. Where is this? Effigy, effigy. I'm a native English speaker. I don't know. I don't use this word very often. Mr. Dink voice? This is getting very expensive. I don't know who Mr. Dink is. Okay, we have... Okay, so now in response to the Cyclonic Rift, we have a Teferi's Protection on the stack. Threatening to basically stop our opponent front. And also, if we have Teferi's Protection, we cannot be... your life total can't change, and you have gained protection from everything. So we're not going to die to the Tendrils of Agony. So for anyone just jumping in, we have got this Tendrils of Agony targeting our opponent for 20. A Gilded Light was played in response. A Gilded Light a Gilded Light was stolen. Whether the Storm now is to protect the person from the Tendrils of Agony. They're playing Tainted Remedy. Then the Tendrils of Agony players playing Tainted Remedy in response. And then they played Platinum Empyrean. Then we played True Polymorph to turn it into a Primeval Titan. Machine God's Effigy is coming out to copy the Platinum Empyrean. Then they play Cyclonic Rift Overload. And now we're trying to protect ourselves with Teferi's Protection. Elgot says, we respond with Do-Over to Teferi's Protection. What the hell does that mean? Is that a card? Do-Over. What the hell? What is this? 2-mana instant. Restart the turn, except with card name in exile? Oh, you mean this one? First, return all cards to where they were where they were as the turn began. For information like hidden zones, like hand, reconstruct as best you can. I don't know if they'd ever want to play this card, though, because if they play Do-Over, then they lose their Tendrils of Agony. I would say that that's not an answer to the current situation, but thank you very much for the super chat, that's for sure. The stack is an Esper player's wet dream? Absolutely. Lila Kazami says, all permanents have either been Cyclonic Rifted or phased out. Time to drop a creature and smack face. Well, they're all on the stack. So the Cyclonic Rift is on the stack. The Fairy Protection is on the stack. Sanzi. We have a mod here. I haven't seen a mod in chat for a million years. Okay, Teferi's Protection, grape shot. This player is so rude. Okay, now we're grape shotting for probably at least 20 at this point. Grape shot for 2 mana. Deal 1 damage to any target, and very likely their face. What if permanents resolved when cast and everything else is dealt with on the stack? I think that's appropriate when we get stuck, which we did with the Chimera. Like, we got major stuck on that Chimera. Super stuck on the Chimera. Sir Stan's like, we got way more than 20 damage going on here. Trees increase grape shot. The One Ring. To protect. We have so many, like, protect ourselves from everything cards. The One Ring has been cast. It's indestructible, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain protection from everything. This is very funny. It's like, we've got one player who clearly is like the protection from everything player with the Platinum Empyrean, the Teferi's protection, the One Ring, and then we have another player that's just a Storm player. That's just rude, playing grape shot and tendrils of agony, all the rude stuff. You know what I mean? Who has not got a card? Can't tell who hasn't got a card yet. Little Kazam, you want to throw yourself in there? The One Ring, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Ah. So Elish Norn, we'll say, is a 5-mana 4/7 Phyrexian Praetor, Vigilance. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. So so long as we have Elish Norn, the One Ring is actually not going to do anything around here. We got Benny's. Thank you very much for your super chat. I once asked a very special lady to play MTG for a date. We really had some magic moments. That's what it's all about. Thanks so much for the super chat, Benny. And it's double win. You can get your date to play Magic with you. Super win. Teutonic Nightmare is like, that's more clever than I was expecting. It's not bad. It's not bad. We're finally back to a creature that wins. Corbinek, we actually already played Haywire Might, so we can't play it a second time. It was actually played a long time ago. Mappius hasn't got a card yet. We're going to play Swords to Plowshares on the Elish Norn. Oops. All right, so what this implies is that Elish Norn had to have resolved. Swords to Plowshares not now on the stack. It's old boys like, not me bringing stacks to a date. The Mother of Machines. Very powerful. I can't believe we went from a stack war now back to a regular war. Dress Down has been bounced, I believe. Dress Down got bounced back to hand because there was this one card that bounced all the permanents back to hand. There's not even a Primeval Titan in play anymore. All permanents got bounced a long time ago. Okay, so we have CSDX, Return the Favor. What does that mean? We have to target it to something, though. Is there another creature on the stack? What is on the stack here? Oh, there's Platinum Empyreans. Okay, so this actually can work. Return the Favor. We'll assume we're playing both sides. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, and change the target of target spell with a spell of ability with a single target. The only fresh creatures in play, I think, it's not entirely. Yeah, Rule 0, Pt.2, Chimera, and Dress Down are both gone. Yeah, they're both gone. Favor was mentioned but disqualified because it was trying to redirect a spell that couldn't be redirected. It was trying to redirect the what was it called? They were trying to redirect the Gilded Light, but you can't redirect that because it's just you gain Shroud. It's not target player gains Shroud. So that was disqualified at the time. This actually is legal now. Retrospective channel. Also sup with Nikachu's aliens built the pyramids guy from National Geographic. What the hell? Okay, we got X Ninja. Return the Favor with Redirect Lightning. Redirect Lightning. It's a red instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, pay 5 life or just 2 generic mana. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So we're going to return the Favor has a single target, and we can change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So we can target We can target Return the Favor and make Return the Favor target Redirect Lightning in a very stupid way. Or we can also just redirect the Swords to Plowshares back to where it's supposed to be. Return has target. 2 targets? Does it? I thought it just copies. Counterspell ability, activate or triggered ability. You may choose. Oh! Oh, no. Hold on. Okay, so what are we copying? So we're copying, oh, we have 2 copies. Here's the problem. We can only redirect half. You can choose 1. Yeah, it's not that there's 2 targets. There are 2 copies of this thing. So Return the Favor is going to copy the Swords to Plowshares, right? And then redeploy it where it wants it, and also change the target of a Swords to Plowshares. Redirect Lightning only does half of answering the Return the Favor, bizarrely enough. So we actually need an answer to both of them. Christopher B, anyone else miss when this kind of stream was a simple 1-for-1? The endless sequencing is a real drag. I'm, you know, it's an experiment. It's an experiment. We're trying things. I'm gonna say this was an absolute failure. We could try this again and just ignore everything else that happened in the past. What else do we have here? Okay, we're gonna redirect this. We're going to. I think 1-for-1 is better. Also ignoring everything that happened in the past. At some point, the players would deck out. Yeah, we've played more cards than there are cards in the deck. I'm ready to play a you win the game card in response. To talk either of these guys versus Hive Mind, we can just say that everyone just copies and redirects ad nauseum until everything is where it was going to be originally. All right, you know what? I can get behind that. Okay, the idea is there, but maybe we have to have something like the stack is just like a bunch of really specific cards for the very, very specific cards that it's trying to deal with. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for next time. This show was entirely chaos ensued in the entire way around. Okay, anyway, thanks for showing up anyway. We usually do these shows 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thanks to everyone who supports the show. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to be part of the show, or even super chat so other people are part of the show. And of course, thank you so much, my coffee crew, for being here. Even putting up with all the chaos. People like Procore Games, Old Boy Mercenary, CSDX, Little Deadfly, Zillus. Zillus R, Bell. We got Mista in the house. Marcio, Conspiracy Cracker, Sanzi. Maybe if we get stuck, is the time to resolve the stack. Well, we did with the stupid Chimera thing. Hexanort, Christopher B, Procore Games, Tanya, and Morphs. As usual, my coffee crew. Keep brewing those coffees. We're going to keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.